Did you know that more often than not, you can get the Steelbook version of a game from CEX for the same price as the standard version? And this is something we are hoping to take advantage of today in this episode of Steelbook Hunting in CEX. Hello again folks, and welcome back to another episode of Steelbook Hunting in CEX, the series where every episode I hit up two brand new CEX stores hoping to find, hiding on the shelves, some underpriced steelbooks to help build my steelbook collection. And we are back in 2024 with two brand new CEX stores. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week like this one, and really folks, along for the ride. Now, let's hit up our first CEX store. The first CEX store we're hitting up this time is Newark, and yes, this is a small CEX store, but right off the bat we are finding steelbooks here with the Batman Gotham Knight steelbook. An absolutely beautiful steelbook, but unfortunately one I do already have in my collection. But straight next to it we have Sci-Fu, a steelbook which I've been watching for a very long while. But here's the thing, when I'm steelbook hunting in CEX, I'm looking for the bargains, and I'm a patient man, and with games like Sci-Fu I will wait till that one gets cheaper and then pick it up in the future, such as this game here. Forza Motorsport 5 for £8 for the steelbook is an absolute bargain. Now, I didn't actually realise I already had this one in the collection, so this is a duplicate, but honestly, some of these steelbooks are so cheap in CEX. Even if you have them in the collection, more often than not, you can actually flip some of these on eBay. Steelbooks for the Xbox 360 are getting harder and harder to find, so I was super happy to find this Call of Duty Ghost steelbook. Now, they have released a steelbook for nearly every single Call of Duty game, and this is one of the very few steelbooks I still needed for my collection, so I was really happy to find this one. Now, Gears of War was definitely seen better days and was not a steelbook, but sadly nothing else here in the Xbox 360 section. As I said, it is getting harder to find Xbox 360 steelbooks, but the PlayStation 5 is becoming a new hunting ground for steelbooks, a relatively new console, and still some steelbooks coming out for this one. I thought this was one here for Siberia, but unfortunately it was just like a book and a slipcase for the disc. It did look like a pretty cool game, so let me know if I should pick this one up in the future in the comments down below. Finally, we're checking out the PlayStation 4 section, and half the battle of Steelbook Hunting in CEX is knowing what these steelbooks look like. Now, I would have presumed that Elden Ring kind of slipcase would have had a steelbook inside, but alas, no luck. But let me know in the comments down below if there is an Elden Ring steelbook, as I would really want to play that game in the future, and honestly, if I could get a steelbook for it, that would make things even sweeter. Coming to the end here, and unfortunately, that's the only two steelbooks we managed to find here in Newark, but honestly, two steelbooks when you're out steelbook hunting in CEX is a pretty good win. On to the next store, let's hope we can find even more steelbook hunting in CEX. Next up, we're off steelbook hunting in Mansfield, and if you saw this store in a recent episode of the Crazy World of CEX, you'll know they had an amazing retro selection. And heading straight to the PlayStation 5 section, it's a real shame that this copy of The Observer did not have a steelbook, because there was numerous copies of this game for some incredibly strange reason, but sadly no steelbook here, so it's not really of interest today. Here's steelbook hunting in CEX, but moving on to the PlayStation 5, here is an absolute bargain PlayStation 5 steelbook. Yes, Back for Blood is super cheap at the minute, but honestly, this is one of the best looking steelbooks I have seen in a very, very long while, and for £5, look at that. That is a good looking steelbook, and at the end of the day, that is what we're looking for here when we are steelbook hunting in CEX. Moving on from the PlayStation 5 to the PlayStation 4, and again there's Back for Blood up there, but a little further along we'll see if we can find some more steelbooks. This is the thing, some CEX stores have their steelbooks on the shelves, some don't. Thankfully this store does, and here's one I've been looking for a very long while, this Final Fantasy XV steelbook. Now, I think this is meant to have a slipcase, but honestly, for £4 for a PlayStation 4 game in a steelbook, you can't go wrong. Here's the thing though, when you are steelbook hunting in CEX, it all comes down to condition. These boxes can easily be damaged, dented, or even rusty, and sadly this Shadow of Mordor box was a little bit dented. It's really hard to see here in the video because it does have a 3D effect on the print on the steelbook. It's a really, really nice looking steelbook, and hopefully one I can find in the future in good condition. There is one thing that never ceases to amaze me. When I'm hunting for any video games in CEX, Steelbook or not, it's there's always games I see that I never knew existed. Now, of course, I know a lot about the Gran Turismo franchise, but I never knew they made a Steelbook for Gran Turismo 6, and like I said earlier, these Steelbooks can get rusty. Again, it isn't very obvious in this video, but this one was definitely a rusty bust, unfortunately, which is a real shame, as I've never seen this Steelbook before, and honestly, I don't know if I'll see it again. When it comes to the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, these Steelbooks are getting harder and harder to find, and as these consoles just get older and older, unfortunately, it's going to get even harder to find these Steelbooks, but when you find them, it makes it all the sweeter. Speaking of the Xbox 360, unfortunately, we are seeing more and more around the country in our CEX stores that the Xbox 360 sections are shrinking, and Mansfield is much the same, but thankfully the Xbox One sections are getting bigger and bigger, and this is a great place to find some real cheap Steelbooks. I've been trying to find the Destiny Steelbook for about a year now, still haven't managed it, and it is one of the cheapest Steelbooks you can physically find in CEX. Again, checking for Forza Steelbooks, because I'm missing, I think, one Forza Steelbook from my collection now. But this is the thing, you just have to keep hunting, as you never know. Hiding in a corner here, we have the Just Cause 4 Steelbook. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this game. I actually prefer Just Cause 3, but for £4, I'm grabbing it. We're coming to the end of the Xbox One section, and so far we have found 3 Steelbooks, which honestly is a pretty good day when you are Steelbook hunting in CEX. But can somebody explain to me why the Final Fantasy XV Deluxe Edition is £14 more than the standard Steelbook, which we found on a shelf in this very same store? If you know why, let me know in the comments down below. But one final find, my brother managed to grab this one, the Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance Steelbook, and yep, gotta admit, I'm pretty jealous of this one, but for £10, it's definitely one that's on my radar. But let's take it back to the games room, check out these pickups, as we've got some sexy Steelbooks. Here we are then, back in the games room from another Steelbook hunt in CEX, and it seems to me, so far in this series, around the average number of Steelbooks we find in any given CEX store is 2, which is the exact number of Steelbooks we found this time in Newark CEX. First off, we have the Steelbook for Call of Duty Ghosts, and honestly, I was super happy to find this one. It was super cheap, but here's the thing. I have nearly got the complete set of Call of Duty Steelbooks, so finding those last elusive few is definitely one of my goals for 2024. The second Steelbook I found in Newark is the Forza Motorsport 5 Steelbook. Not the most exciting Steelbook of all time, and even more annoyingly, it's actually Forza 6 that I'm missing from my collection, but thankfully, since I picked this one up for £8, the price has actually gone up for £10, so it still trades in for £6. Next up, we're in Mansfield, and honestly, this is one of the cheapest, best looking Steelbooks you can buy, and it is a PlayStation 5 game. It is Back for Blood, and I know a lot of people seem to rip on this game, but I really enjoyed it, and honestly, what a good looking Steelbook this is, and for £5 it's an absolute bargain. Yes, the game might not be quite as good as Left 4 Dead, but still it's an incredible looking Steelbook. Now, one of my favourite genre of games is kind of the open world exploration games that kind of Grand Theft Auto invented, and I think Just Cause made even more fun just because of all the destructibility. Even though honestly I do prefer Just Cause 3 to Just Cause 4, I just don't think the weather effects really added too much, and the world just feels a bit too big and empty, and sometimes you can just have too much of a good thing. But for £4, it's not the most exciting Steelbook of all time. It is double-sided, and honestly, I think the inside print's more exciting than the outside, but it's a good one to cross off the list for the Steelbook collection. And finally, we have Final Fantasy XV Steelbook. Now, I've seen this Steelbook before many, many times, but I think it's this special edition of this one, which is like £18 compared to the price of this one. And this one does still have 2 discs. But if you know the difference between this version and the limited edition version, please let me know in the comments down below. But for £4, I was super happy to pick this up rather than the special edition for £18. Here we have it then, folks, 4 new Steelbooks to add to the collection, and this is exactly what I mean about Steelbook hunting in CEX. I managed to pick up not just these 4 Steelbooks, but of course the games within for just £15. It just goes to show, when you are Steelbook hunting in CEX, you can find some real bargains. Here's something to bear in mind though when it comes to Steelbook hunting in CEX. Recently, CEX has changed the way they price their retro games. So a lot of retro games now cost more if they come complete with instructions. So let me know in the comments down below, do you think in the future CEX will start charging more for the Steelbook version of a game rather than the standard version? There we have it then, folks. That is another episode of Steelbook Hunting in CEX. But I want to hear from you folks watching. Let me know in the comments down below what is the best value Steelbook that you've found recently in your local CEX store. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, keep playing the game. See you all soon.